All right. I was thinking for icebreakers, let's do like New Year's resolutions or goals.
Oh
So
my God.
so be prepared. I'll go. So introduce yourself and your role in Surfrider, and either a goal or a resolution or hope and dream for 2021 if you're not into resolutions and stuff. So I'll go first, and then I'll call on people. So that's probably easier, I think.
Yeah.
So my name is Liz Scottman, and I'm the Washington Regional Manager. So I'm one of two staff here in Surfrider Foundation, Washington. And my resolution, I have a goal of like getting back into the water, like free diving and conquering my fear of cold water. So that's my goal. And so my resolution is also to stop being lazy. And so every day I don't work out, I have to do a series of breath holds to train back into free diving shape. And breath holds suck. So it's been really motivating me to work out more, which is great. So that's so far so good. I feel really proud. I've made it through like 3 weeks. So all right, Jill, you're next.
Hi, I'm Jill Williams, and I am the Olympia chapter vice chair. And let's see, for a resolution, well, I just bought a new paddle board that's on its way from Florida. Yay! I found an awesome bark board, and so it was really cool. So it's more of a racing touring board for the Puget Sound. So that's kind of my goal for rolling into spring, is to spend more time paddleboarding on the Puget Sound. So moving off flat, relaxing water and actually do some. So that's my New Year's resolution. So I'll move along the top. I see Christine next.
Hey, so I'm Christine Rayburn, and I am the Ocean Friendly Restaurants Program Coordinator and Rise Above Plastics Coordinator, in which before COVID, we did a lot more education, where we were even getting into the local public schools and doing education on plastic pollution, and even student conferences. So, and a lot of tabling. So that was pretty cool. And I didn't really make any resolutions or goals this year. Last year was just a year of surviving. So this year, I just feel better. And so I'm just kind of excited to just start doing things again, whether it's exercise. I'm really super excited about Surfrider and legislative stuff. So I'm really hoping to just get back into educating, learning about all the new stuff that's happening in the legislature, and educating and spreading the word about that kind of awesome stuff. Oh, and Leah, you're next.
Hi, Dawn. My name is Leah Althauser, and I am the secretary for the Olympia chapter. I'm not a resolution maker because I don't keep them. So I just try to keep my expectations really low, and then I exceed expectations and I'm happy. So it sounds bad, but it's not. It's a good way of staying positive.
And I'm last, looks like. Darryl Taylor. I live here in Olympia, and I recently joined here by about two months ago or so as the treasurer. New Year's resolutions, I don't have any this year. Last year I did dry January, or my wife and I did dry January, but we're not doing that this year. There's no way. But I ran into a friend that I surf with that messed up his back about, I think 3 months ago or so, and he's gotten into free diving. And so I've been, once a week I go out and do that with him, but I'm going like 8 to 10 feet down for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. You know, it takes a lot to get used to the cold water. Even though I'm out surfing it all the time, it's different when you're diving deep down into it. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm working on this year.
Cool.
All right, you're up, Don.
I'm it. Okay. So seriously, one of my goals was to join Surfriders.
Yay!
So here I am. Yeah. So I got that part done. My second goal that I've not been nearly as successful with is to get out and catch a steelhead this winter. And I've been too much of a weather wimp to do it. And so even though the Hump Tulips River is quite close, I haven't done that. So I've got to fulfill the second part of my, I wouldn't call it a New Year's resolution, but I'll call it a New Year's goal. Hopefully next time, hopefully at the beach cleanup, I'll have better news.
You got a whole, you got time. You got time. I believe it'll happen for you. Well, awesome. Well, I'm going to thank you guys for sharing your goals. I feel inspired. I'm going to share my screen and we'll kind of go through our year in review because it's easy to be like 2020 was the worst, but it wasn't all bad. And that is the theme for, all right. Do you guys see my presentation?
Yes.
Cool. Where are my notes? I don't have them. Whatever. All right. So it wasn't all bad. Hooray, hurrah. All right. So we have 4 primary programs in our chapter. So we have our Blue Water Task Force, which is our water quality monitoring citizen science program that we'll talk about. We have our Rise Above Plastics efforts that do a lot of the education and outreach about plastic pollution. We have our Ocean Friendly Restaurants program, which is a certification program to primarily eliminate single-use plastics in the food industry. And Hold On to Your Butts, which is our cleanup efforts and education efforts to eliminate cigarette butts as waste. So we'll kind of go through some of these as well as some of the other things we've been up to and reflect. But first, I just want to give a huge shout out to the fact that we recruited 3 new amazing human beings to help on our small but mighty Olympia chapter executive committee. So it seems like years ago almost, but also like last month that Leah and Jill joined us right at the start, right? Was that February or April? When was that? March?
I think we were at the February meeting. And then we met once with the EC, and then I think the March meeting was canceled. Is that right?
Oops, that sounds right. Yeah. So, and they've just hit the ground running despite all of the craziness of starting in Surfrider during the pandemic and being trapped in a virtual world. And I feel like it took like months before we actually like met in person. So it was a crazy time to come on board, but we're so thankful. Leah's been cranking out amazing newsletters full of awesome content. And Jill is like basically single-handedly led all of our coastal cleanups this year. It's like going out to the coast and organizing all of that, as well as kicking ass at making those documentary film screenings happen. So super appreciate you guys and all the work you've done. And then Darryl recently joined us as treasurer, and which we have not had in quite a while. So he's having to go back in time and make sure all the books are in order. So, and he's just taken the reins and dove right in, freediving pun intended. And so we definitely appreciate him joining us and joining the team. So welcome all of you guys. I'm stoked to have you. Leah, do you want to talk about our virtual meetings?
Yes. So we've had, despite everything, like most other people, we've been doing virtual meetings. I think my favorite one was the Akatsu project. And Don, if you don't know about the Akatsu project, you should just Google it, because he goes around to remote locations on his canoe and just picks up plastic in these crazy areas where people aren't living, but there's lots of plastic. So it's a really sad, but I think inspiring story of the difference that we can make. We had some of the things that we'll be doing in 2020 Surfrider Regional in Washington is sort of fighting against the deep seabed mining. And so Liz and a partner talked with us about that and why it's something that we should be concerned about. Jill helped put together this really fun Oystoberfest, which sort of naturally collided with the governor's proclamation of Seafood Month in October, and that was a super fun event. So we've just been able to sort of meet and connect people with other ocean-minded and I suppose anti-plastic minded folks in helping to keep our oceans and waves and beaches cleaner.
Heck yeah. And is that all of them? I don't want to interrupt you, but yeah, we had some great virtual meetings, and then we record them, and I recently started a Washington YouTube channel, Surfrider YouTube channel. So all the chapters, virtual meetings, the silver lining is we can record them and have them and have that content available. So that is accessible. So you can relive all those amazing moments in our virtual chapter meetings. All right, Jill, you're up.
All right. So one of the things we wanted to do at the very beginning of the year, one of the first meetings we had was talking about doing kind of a film series in hopes. The plan was to do most of them at either like Traditions Cafe or at the Capitol Theater, and actually in person. And COVID gave us our little twist on that. So, but what was really exciting about it is that we came to find that we could do everything over Zoom and include a lot more people that weren't just from Olympia. So that was kind of cool. But the first one we did do in person before COVID shut us down was Fish People at Traditions Cafe. So that was a lot of fun. Awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, take a screenshot of these. If you haven't seen these, I think most of them are available either on Netflix or YouTube, but Fish People, I think, is on Netflix. Awesome, awesome movie. And then we showed the Chehalis Watershed moment documentary that was put together, and we were able to put it up and share it with people right before a commenting period about the Chehalis Dam. And it was a really fascinating and awesome documentary. And we had the doc makers on the panel, and they were able to talk about the whole, the experience of making the documentary, but also kind of a little bit of background about the project. So that's really amazing too. But the last I read about that, I think that Governor Inslee shut that down right now. So I don't think that's currently, I might be wrong about that. The last I read about the Chehalis Dam, I thought that he had said, we're going to shelf this for a bit, which,
I don't think he had the power to shut it. And I could be wrong about this too, because I haven't read up on it recently, but I believe he expressed his lack of support for it. But I don't know if he has the actual power to be like, nay,
this isn't happening. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe if somebody is a little bit interested in that, to see where things sit with that right now, because I don't know. I don't know if I heard anything else outside of the outcomes of the public comments. And
I just got an email, and so there will be another public comment period, I think, for the federal. I forget which one we already commented on, if it was the state or the federal environmental impact statement. So I can
it'd be kind of cool to maybe re-show the documentary again. I don't know. It was really, really interesting, the whole process. So we could kind of look at that, but that was a cool one. And then Story of Plastics was kind of more of a statewide one, right? And we kind of piggybacked on that, but that was really a cool one. And then Whitewash, same thing. I think that was kind of one that we did as kind of a state. Most of all the chapters did together. So that was a really cool movie also, that really kind of tied in with environmental justice, and that especially during just that crazy time during summer, it was really impactful. So if you haven't seen Whitewash too, try to pull that one up. And then the most recent ones that we've done is we did Chasing Coral in October, and Liz put together a panel of her coral friends, coral people, coral, like they were amazing. And we watched the movie Chasing Coral, and then afterwards the panelists answered questions about kind of what's happening with what they're working on, different places they're at. And so again, really awesome movie if you haven't seen that one. And then the most recent one we just did last week was She's the Ocean. And we had 3 different panelists from around the Puget Sound, women, our ocean heroes, jump on and kind of talk about what cool stuff they're doing locally. So again, another one, and that one might still be up and available for
Maybe.
people to, maybe, don't quote me on that one, but if you haven't seen that one, head back to our page, and I think we've reposted the link, and you can jump on and I think still view the film and the panel conversation afterwards. So, and then the next one coming up, diving into a little of 20 to 21, but we're trying to put together a series of shorts. So the next one will be really fun. So we'll have just kind of a nice mix of and diverse different little docs to bring to the table and panelists to go with it. So that's it for the film series.
Again, I just want to give Jill like a mad shout out. She recruited some amazing panelists for She is the Ocean, and I'm not sure if the link is still available. If not, it's I think $5 on various digital platforms to rent the movie. But we will get access to the recording of the Q&A, which was just fantastic. I feel like that could have gone on for like 2 hours instead of like 40 minutes. So big shout out to Jill for finding some amazing women to share their experiences.
Thank you. It's fun.
Outreach and education. I guess I can cover this one unless Christine, you want to, but most of our tabling events were shut down, obviously. But before that, I was able to go to the History Museum and partner with sort of some EC members from the Tacoma chapter, the South Sound Surfrider chapter, and do some outreach at a shipwreck exhibit, which was really fun. It was like after hours, and they had adult beverages and fun games and sea shanties, and it was really cool. And so we tabled and really brought the mood down. It's like, hey, I know you're having a good time. Plastic sucks. So it was really fun though. So that was one of my last educational hurrahs before everything got shut down. But we did participate in the virtual event for Nisqually Watershed Festival, which is something we normally go and table at every year. And so instead we submitted some videos about sort of the work we do. So that was, that was still important, but I hope that festivals happen again soon because they're way more fun. So I don't know if Christine, if you wanted to add anything to, you're normally our tabling guru, so.
I got nothing.
She did do the Sustainable Prison Project 2019, right?
Yeah, actually, I guess that was 2019. Yeah, that was really cool. And I've been thinking about all those fellows since then who were really worried about plastic pollution and the fact that they were trapped in prison with plastic bowls and utensils and plastic jumpsuits.
Yeah, it was really cool. I wish I could have gone, and I hope we can work with them in the future because it's a really cool project.
Totally.
Prison project. And we'll probably be stuck virtual until the summer, and then we'll sort of reevaluate depending on vaccines and numbers and cases and all that sort of thing. So, all right. Jill, do you want to cover the
Sure. So we didn't have any official, we're going to call them non-official cleanups.
rogue?
Well, most of them were just, we encouraged people to do their own solo. We facilitated solo cleanups. That's what we'll say. But so the first one that I participated in, that I think was the first one we did since the beginning of the year was the July 5th fireworks cleanup down in Twin Harbors. So that was that's one that was requested by state parks, and we worked with Washington Coast Savers, and we went down and cleaned up the massive amounts of fireworks and trash left on the beach after after 4th of July. And I'm sure you see that up at Ocean Shores just as bad, if not worse. It's crazy. And we filled 2 full dumpsters that day. So it was crazy, but it was so fun to watch people come out with their trucks and just load up. And reflection on that one, in hopes that this year, if we send somebody out, that if we can pull it off, we'd like to send someone out to sit out there on July 4th as people start heading out to the beach, and do more of an awareness piece for them to like clean up your stuff, bring it back, drop it in the, the dumpsters are here for that. Or to give out bags for people to clean up their own trash, because that was helpful. State Parks handed out a lot of plastic bags to people on the 4th. And so on the 5th, people just had to drive their trucks along and just pick up a bunch of those plastic bags. But that was probably a 1/4 of the trash was bagged. The rest of it wasn't. But so maybe a little bit more preventive efforts also. So looking ahead, but it was good. We got a lot of trash picked up, and we should probably, if there isn't already an organized cleanup for that day on Ocean Shores, we should probably be involved with doing a similar thing up there too, because it just is so saddening.
It's crazy.
And I hope I don't know if it's State Parks or who would be organizing them up on the Ocean Shores side, but I am excited that we're going to partner with them here coming up, and that we could kind of start really working together on that side, and whatever we can do to help up on the Ocean Shores side. But I can only imagine on July 5th up there. But and then we did that one. We sat at the Bonge Approach, which is the first place south that you can actually drive on the beach on the Twin Harbors side. So we caught the people, and that was because people would come in and drive that way with all their fireworks. And so not much was found north because you can't drive on that side. So so that was good. And then we went out and we did a little cleanup on International Coastal Cleanup Month. And we sat at Twin Harbors State Park that day. It was a really rainy, not so great day, but we did get a lot of people that participated that were heading in a lot. It was maybe it was the start of clamming season, or so there were a lot of people coming in clamming, and they picked up trash on their way back out. So that one was that was fun too. And then Liz, you want to talk about Cascadia costume cleanup?
Yeah, that was just like a fun solo cleanup that we sort of did statewide, and had some fun submissions of people who went out in costumes, because trick-or-treating was canceled for many. So I thought it was kind of a fun opportunity to get out and show off your costumes and do good for the world. So yeah, it was fun. I kind of want to keep doing that. It'd be a good thing to keep going.
Cute. So then the next thing that we kind of rolled into and put our efforts into has been this yellow rope issue, and working with the folks of the Twin Harbor Waterkeepers and the Westport Maritime Museum, and a couple other people that are just invested in this problem. But the yellow ropes that are all along the area, they're mostly Grayland and Tokeland from the oyster industry is in that area. So the king tides wash these yellow ropes up. They get stuck up into the, right up so high that they don't go back down. So it makes it really easy for us to clean them up. But we did one small little cleanup with Liz and I and a couple of the kind of the key players that were interested in this at the beginning. And so there was maybe 7 of us that went out, and that first day we collected over 3,000 yellow ropes. And then 3 of us went out and did another small cleanup on January 1st, where we collected over 1,000, just on a different beach than we were at on the 19th. And then this last one, after the last king tides on January 16th, there was over 30 people starting at 5 different start locations, and just spread out. And we collected over 16,000 ropes that day. It was crazy. But and they've already informed that there's a bunch more. So it's like they're never ending. But I'm hoping, we were just talking that we're hoping to get some of these folks on our next chapter meeting to really talk about the problem, where they come from, how we can clean them up, ways to combat the issue, and then what do we do with them afterwards, and different ideas for recycling or reuse. And so it's kind of a cool full circle project. So Liz, you got anything to add to those?
That's pretty good. Don, do you guys clean up any of those yellow ropes? They're like little polypropylene.
Oh, we know them well.
Okay.
Well, so then we probably need to be coming up there too, because it's really interesting, because they're keeping count of them, like individually counting each one. And a lot of that is for the data to be able to get support. You know, it's just to be able to show this is a real problem. And yeah, I've heard a couple people mention seeing them up as far as Seabrook, and they were like, oh, we should probably,
Yeah.
maybe we'll roll that into the March 6th cleanup, have a separate bags for yellow ropes. And
Yep.
Yeah, we get quite a bit here.
Yep. And some of the shellfish industry leaders are like really taking this very seriously and have invested a lot of time and effort. And a lot of the people on that January 16th cleanup were with like Taylor Shellfish and some other big shellfish players. And so there are industry like members and leaders that are really working with us closely to try to stop this problem from happening. So like Jill said, we're collecting data to have sort of a baseline. And then the goal is to sort of implement some prevention measures and see if we see a decrease in the number of yellow ropes over time that we collect. So
Hey,
more on that.
Liz and Jill, someone asked on Instagram about using alternative ropes.
Yeah.
I sort of Googled it, but I didn't really find much. Is that something that they talk about sometimes?
Liz, you might know more about it, but I know that question came up once or twice over the couple of cleanups we did. And it sounds like it's just not strong enough or won't withstand. It sounded like that had been explored and that they genuinely want to find a better solution, you know, and a better product to use, but I don't think that's out there quite yet. And so,
yeah, one of the guy at Taylor Shellfish that I was in the cleanup group with was like, hemp can work, but he just can't find it in the quantities, in the bulk quantities that make it, and like it's more expensive. Like plastic is right now just too cheap. And so even though a lot of the, you know, some of these industry leaders are willing to spend more to a degree, like to use natural products, but most natural fibers just don't hold up for the full season. And so they don't work, or if they do, they're just not either available or they're too expensive. And so there's some other like NOAA and Sea Grant, and there's other organizations that kind of work with like fishing technologies and exploring like alternate gear. But it's a common theme, but so far no solution has been found, no better substitute. So to be continued. But it is more fun to clean up something specific though. It's like, oh, I got all these yellow ropes, instead of like, it's an infinite amount of tiny pieces of trash. Oh, come on, let me move. There we go. Christine, do you want to talk about butts? As our butt expert?
Yes. Well, I wasn't as much of the butt expert last year as you guys, but this is always one of our favorite cleanups. It's very satisfying to pick up cigarette butts. So we have a program called Hold On to Your Butts. And the city of Olympia has, I think, about 6 canisters, not necessarily all Surfrider. They have some old versions, but they've bought some canisters from Surfrider to put in different places downtown where people can dispose of their cigarette butts instead of throwing them on the ground. But because for so long, cigarette butts have been one of the #1 items found on beach cleanups around the world, we really like focusing on picking cigarette butts up downtown Olympia, which all those drains pretty much go straight out into the bay there. So, and this one seems pretty popular with people in town too. We get a nice little number of people coming out to help. So there were 3 of them last year, and you can see from the slide. Wow, 13,424 cigarette butts saved from going out into the water and into wildlife. So that's pretty cool. And we're excited. We've been talking about doing a bunch more of these coming up here in the spring. So that could be pretty awesome. I don't know, Don, if you want to host one, we could do one out to Ocean Shores. We could drive our buckets out there and our pickers for you, and we could do a cigarette butt cleanup out there.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that
It's
could be
really
fun.
satisfying. As gross as it sounds, it's actually really satisfying.
Yeah, we focus on just doing it for an hour, which I think also makes it really doable when it's just how much we can pick up in an hour. So that's pretty awesome. We're really lucky here in town. There is a program downtown Olympia called the Clean Team. And so the city bought cigarette butt canisters from us, but they keep them cleaned out. So that's really awesome for us. We also have a canister out at Boston Harbor, a little marina, and they keep that one clean. So it really helps our program that we do have that support in cleaning them. I know a lot of other chapters sometimes have to go around and clean them themselves. And so we're lucky with that. We have more canisters, and we're hoping to expand the program. So that would be cool to get them out there in other communities and other places.
And they're pretty cool looking butt canisters. So Don, if you know of any businesses or locations that would be interested, we kind of like sell them. We buy them at, a rate and sell them for about the same. So, but we just want to get them out there, and they're cool because they have fun Surfrider stickers on them.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll keep my eyes open and start thinking about that.
Yeah, I think one of our goals is to sort of get, see if any downtown locations here where we see a lot of butts that we pick up on these butt pickups, see if they want to sponsor, a can. And again, maintenance is an issue, so you have to figure out who's going to be responsible for emptying it. But yeah, it's a really successful program, and I'm hoping it'll expand.
That's a good idea. I bet our supermarket might be interested in that.
Yeah, just let us know.
Okay.
Sweet. You're up, Christine.
I'm up again. Okay, so ocean friendly restaurants. So we have 8 ocean friendly restaurants here in Olympia. And an ocean friendly restaurant, Don, they have to meet certain criteria to sign up to become an ocean friendly restaurant. And then they also pay a yearly fee, which is not much, but it kind of helps support the program through Surfrider. And they do get lots of perks. We do social media. They're also put on a national registry of ocean-friendly restaurants. Surfrider has an app where you can find ocean-friendly restaurants as you kind of travel around into different communities. So it's a pretty cool program. Last year was, of course, really tough for restaurants. So Surfrider decided, right away that it wasn't very feasible to expect restaurants who were struggling with the, being open or staying open, that they would pay the yearly fee. So they were given an extension for renewal dates. So that's been helpful for restaurants. So, and those will go through March 2021. And then by then, I think Surfrider is kind of looking to revamp the program to make it easier for restaurants, and so we can expand the program and bring in more. I know, Don, you're out in Ocean Shores, but in case you ever come into Olympia, I did want to just kind of shout out something cool about each of the restaurants. Stellar Juices was pretty awesome. All the restaurants closed, of course, for a while, but when they reopened, some of them were very innovative with how they jumped back in. And Stellar Juices was one of those that just, I think, really did a great job. That, you know, before you could just go in and get juice and smoothies, but to expand what they could provide, they started a weekly produce box. They also were one of the few places that still allowed people to come in with their reusable cups. And so they had COVID safe procedures on how people could still use their reusables, which a lot of places kind of stopped doing. They also partnered, you know, did cool stuff like partnered with a local bakery, and you get a vegan cake slice in your produce weekly produce box. They started delivery in kind of a small radius, which was pretty cool. So Stella really stepped up in providing, trying to get their juice and products out there. So that was pretty cool. Three Magnets. Also, they always did cool stuff. Like, did you know you could go on Sundays and do yoga and drink beer? Although not lately, but they have pretty cool programs. But they right away also kind of stepped up and decided to start doing family kit meals, where you could get a whole meal that you get all the ingredients, and then you kind of assemble and cook for your family at home. So that was pretty cool. They have expanded their outdoor seating, so you can still go to Three Mags. Cascadia Grill, they have some outdoor seating, and of course you can do pickup, order online and do pickup. But they have a cool little program where you can donate a little extra money, and they will take meals to frontline workers, which is pretty cool. Chelsea Oyster Bar, they were closed for a while they tried to kind of decide how they were going to follow through with the new restrictions, but they have a crazy outdoor seating now. It's still kind of recommended that you call and make reservations, but they've really got the setup there and the heaters and everything. Same with La Gitana Pizzeria. They jumped right away at the chance to kind of expand their outdoor along the walkway, and they have big heaters, so you can go there. And Gardner's is just doing takeout. They just don't have really the space for any outdoor seating, but they've really done some cool things to make things special. Cocktails in cute little mason jars that you kind of shake and bring home. And they even add flowers to your orders, so you can really set up a nice little fancy table, just like you'd get if you were dining in. So I think it's been tricky for restaurants as they're just trying to survive, to maybe remember kind of all the ways that they were being ocean friendly before. I think takeout utensils, which are on request only, are still kind of tricky for restaurants maybe happening. And I have seen some straws in some of their Instagram posts, but they might still be using their inventory, so we can't complain. I know that Three Magnets actually added online. When you do their online order, you actually have to request whether or not you want that plastic fork. So that's pretty cool that they've made that an actual request within their online ordering, which is pretty cool. But otherwise, we're just really trying to support them as they just try to stay open. The restaurant industry was tough before COVID, you know, breaking even a lot of the time. So we're working on that. We're excited as we look to the future to expand. We'd love some ocean friendly restaurants in Westport and Ocean Shores and some of our coastal communities. So we're looking to do that as the months go by.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And Christine did so much of the groundwork in establishing this program in Olympia. So kudos to her. And yeah, we are trying to revamp the program so that the fee is waived for smaller restaurants, because that's just too big of an obstacle, and we know that. So yeah, we're hoping to expand it going forward. I can talk about Blue Water Task Force, our community science water quality sampling program, where we try to fill in the gaps when agencies can't collect the water quality samples to test for bacterial contamination. And so we have a program at Priest Point Park, which is the local city park here in Olympia. And we sample weekly from May to August in the summertime when people are most likely to be in the water. Although certain crazy people like Darryl are apparently just jumping in the water now in freaking January. So yeah, we collected 46 samples, and out of those, we only had 2 high hits, which was really great because in the past, this beach has had a history of having more frequent high bacterial counts in the water. So it's really great to see that the water is, for the most part, pretty safe as far as bacterial contamination, at least, is concerned. Because I see kids in the water, I see rowers in the water. Apparently, Darryl's swimming in the water, and I'm never gonna let it go. So yeah, it's a really great program, and we're hoping to continue it in 2021 to keep, you know, pushing out what, you know, the safety of the water is to the community. So cool. Civic engagement and activism. You guys want me to talk about this? Cool. So every year we have Environmental Lobby Day, which happens locally here in Olympia, where we try to coordinate with other environmental partners to help our volunteers and theirs sort of lobby on behalf of the oceans. So this year it is virtual, and Surfrider isn't leading the charge on any of the bills. A lot of them are transportation and clean fuels and things that are a little bit out of our wheelhouse. So we lend support, and I'm on some calls, and we definitely encourage our volunteers to sort of get involved if they want to. But I honestly don't know a lot about the bills that our Environmental Priorities Coalition are pushing right now. I know the HEAL Act is one of them, and there's some other like climate change initiatives. And then every year we also send we try to send at least one representative from each chapter throughout the nation to Washington, D.C. to advocate for our oceans in Coastal Recreation Hill Day. So this last year, we had 5 people from Washington. So I think every one of our chapters were represented. So that was awesome. And this year it is virtual, so anybody can participate. So that will be in March, and really looking forward to it. With new federal leadership, we're hoping to get some really valuable federal legislation passed. I don't know if you guys saw, but Biden just shut down new oil leases, which is something we've been fighting for a long time. So that's a huge win. And of course, we're like back in the Paris Climate Accords, and just, you know, and locally here in Washington, they denied the permit to the Kalama methanol refinery, which would have been the largest methanol refinery in the world, to process that and ship it to China. So we didn't, Surfrider is not taking credit for that. I'm just stoked that the Department of Ecology denied that permit. So a lot of great environmental victories and efforts coming from DC lately. So that's making me hopeful personally. And statewide, we have 2 campaigns that we're sort of working really hard on. One is to ban seabed mining, which is a destructive extractive industry in state waters here in Washington. And I just testified for the first time on the Senate floor virtually.
Yeah, Liz.
Yeah, I had my like professional outfit from the top, you know, and then like my PJ flannels and my slippers. So that was really fun. It was a little nerve wracking, but yeah, we're really hopeful. One of our Senator Vanderweg is he's really pushing that seabed mining bill. So we're hopeful. And there was not a lot of opposition to it. So that's very likely going to happen this year. So we're pretty stoked for that. And then Foam Free Washington is a campaign we've had for a while where we've tried to ban styrofoam and things like takeout containers and such. It got pretty close last year, but failed at the last, the 11th hour. But we're working on a different sort of combined bill right now that would ban most styrofoam products. There are a few exceptions, like meat containers and things like that, as well as there's a recycled content requirement for plastic bottles, and also an opt-in requirement that will sort of force a lot of restaurants and things to make single-use plastics opt-in only. So we'll see how that goes. Plastics legislation is not as cut and dry as banning seabed mining, which hasn't actually happened yet in our state. So we'll see. Stay tuned. But
Can I jump in?
yeah.
Oh, I wanted just to say, Dawn, another cool, 2 cool organizations to follow that kind of help follow the legislative line is Zero Waste Washington. they're really cool to follow. And also Puget Soundkeeper do a lot of different things. So those could be two kind of fun ways to keep track of legislative stuff as well. And then I did want everyone to look in that picture and look at the hair that I used to have. It was good, right?
I like your hair better now.
It's never gonna look like that. I'm not gonna dye it anymore, but I really like it.
Most people in this picture have much longer hair because they haven't gone to a hair cutter, except for like all of us with shaved heads that have our COVID cuts. So yeah, it's a great way to get people involved. And it's, you know, a lot of times people are really nervous about, you know, talking to their legislators and stuff, but every single one of them afterwards is like, that was great. That was so inspiring. That was so motivating. So that's sort of like the ultimate goal for Surfrider is get people engaged in the policy, which I hate because I'm a scientist. I just want to be like alone in my room on my computer in the woods, but that's where the big changes tend to happen. So really cool part of what Surfrider does. And looking forward, yeah, we're just going to try to keep hosting small group cleanups and promoting solo cleanups. So Don will definitely touch base with you on like how you think that could play out in Ocean Shores, because we definitely know there's a need there for continued cleanup efforts. So that's a great opportunity. We have some more film screenings like Jill was saying, at least February and March, I think, are the next two films, and we'll see if they continue on after that. And we'll, again, like we said, there's some changes to OFR, so we'll keep supporting our local restaurants as best we can because the struggle is real. And we're going to be picking up more butts. And of course, we're always recruiting for core volunteers and people who want to join the executive committee. So right now we're looking for a volunteer coordinator and maybe a chair, because Joe is going to have a kid. So I don't know how long he'll chair for with a new babe. So yeah, and I think that's it. So yeah, that's, I think, the end of our presentation. It sounds like you've already done all these things, Don. So like, you know, you're ahead of the game.
Well, I don't know. I've got to get, actually roll up my sleeves and get with you guys and do some real work. Then I'll feel like I'm making some progress. But thanks for, everybody's very welcoming. Thanks very much. I'm definitely looking forward to, what is the coordinator position all about?
The volunteer coordinator, you know, we get a lot of inquiries that are like, hey, I want to get involved. And so they, you know, point people in the right direction and sort of, you know, just chat with them about what opportunities are available to people and, you know, different skill sets that, you know, if you wanted to apply to Surfrider's work, we're always open to ideas. And so, yeah, it's just mostly just communicating with people via email or phone calls, and letting them know sort of what we do and how they can be involved. So,
Okay.
yeah. And you're welcome. So we have a monthly chapter meeting that's open to the general public. And then we also have a monthly EC meeting where we sort of do a lot of the like planning and things like that. And those, we don't advertise the EC meetings because they're not always as fun, you know, because it's business. But you're totally welcome to crash those and sort of see what we do sort of behind the scenes, you know, and get as involved as you want to be. So if you want us to send you the invite to the next EC meeting, we are happy to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, it'd be interesting to just take a look.
Yeah. And even if you don't, you know, commit to joining the EC, it doesn't mean you can't just crash EC meetings, and we can coordinate on how to ramp up our efforts in Ocean Shores, because I think that'd be awesome.
Cool.
So yeah, I think that's it. Any last questions or comments? Did we miss anything? Do we want to talk about Joe while he's not here?
Was Darryl gonna talk about?
Oh crap, Darryl, I didn't make you a slide.
Oh, that's okay. To talk
Membership.
about the budget from last year. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, if you want to, go for it.
Or the spending from last year?
You can.
Sure. So, well, Jill was saying she wanted me to talk about members. So it looked like back 420, there was a poll and we had 50 members. And then you were saying that today we have 44 members. And you said that's pretty normal, right? To kind of drop a little bit and hopefully
Yeah,
it'll
with
come back up.
COVID, like most chapters have seen like a dip in numbers.
Oh, with
COVID.
COVID, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the start of the last year looks like we were at $6,268, and then we ended with 5,469. I haven't seen the bank statements from November and December, you know, because I don't have access to them yet.
Yep.
But and then during our budget meeting, we figured it would be about $2,200 that we're going to spend this year, and some of that's going to be like the cigarette butt canisters that we're going to resell, and some other stuff that we'll resell. But long story short, we're running out of money, so no members.
Yep. It's tough. It's tough asking people for money right now. So yeah. But we can talk more about like a membership drive or fundraising opportunities in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure people would be interested in these shirts, you know, like you were talking about. So
Like, yeah. Oh yeah, that's why I put this on here. We did get our that was one of the other things that we got done this year is we got a local tattoo artist designed our Olympia Surfrider design, which is pretty sweet. So we'll need to make some stickers and share the swag. So I don't want it to exclude Ocean Shores though. Now I feel bad. It's just like very Olympia focused, but maybe we can commission some Westport Ocean Shores swag in the future. Be fun. Awesome.
Let me ask, how does the chapter generate revenues? There's not a membership fee, is there?
There is. So it's the minimum is
okay.
$25 a year for memberships. Which
So where should I send my fee?
your fee. So if you register to be a member online, it should automatically that all goes through headquarters and they kick us like a percentage back. Anything over $25. I think we get, I want to say $5 or $10 back from those $25 fees. And then I think anything above that $25 minimum, I think also comes back to the chapter. And then there's also an option to just make a pure donation. If you access the donation through Olympia's website and you click on like that give button, there should be a little button that's like donate to a chapter, donate to Olympia chapter. And that's just a pure donation. And so a lot of chapters, you know, memberships are really important. They're not always the most like financially significant influx of finances, but they're incredibly valuable to be able to like show the power of our network. If we can be like, this is how many members we have, like it gets people's attention. And so memberships are incredibly important. But a lot of chapters have like fundraisers, certain events that they'll put on are often like they're big. So like the Olympic Peninsula chapter has a big international surf day event. That's their primary way of generating funds, which obviously they didn't get last year. So, and then, you know, we'll have like Giving Tuesday events and other like donation, like asks throughout the year. And then some chapters just have like private donors that love what we do and consistently donate like big sums to support us. And then we also have sponsors like potentially 10 Barrels. So we have some corporate sponsorships as well. So we find all sorts of novel ways to keep running.
So I should be able to find I can pay the fee on the website?
Yeah, I can share the link with you. And I'm happy to like talk through the process. But yeah, if you just go to the website, there's a give button and it'll link you to our national page, and headquarters takes care of all of that for us, which is
okay.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah, if you just sign up online and pay online, it'll take a second. Like there's a delay where they process it and then eventually they'll send us a check essentially or deposit some money in our bank account quarterly, theoretically.
All right.
So yeah. Thank you, Darryl.
Yeah.
Right on. Oh, that's it. That's all I got. Right on the nose, an hour. We nailed it, guys.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming to your first meeting and welcome. And we're stoked to have you as our Ocean Shores liaison.
I'm glad to do it, and thanks to all of you as well. That was a really good meeting. I felt like I learned a lot.
Yeah, that was actually a good one for you to jump in on for the first time, because it was
Yeah.
like a review of the chapter. So good. Nice
Yeah,
to
I
meet
thought
you.
it was terrific. All righty. Well, I'm going to head out, but thanks again, and I'll look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Heck yeah.
Nice to meet
Bye.
you.